Perfect timing.
All
Brian,
right,
put out that announcement. We're here,
right,
people.
announcement's going live.
Ooh, I love the poster you chose.
I'm glad you did. Now you have to stay here and suffer.
Damn it. I am the reason that Alita was on the list.
This is true.
Has his thoughts prepared the popcorn? Is the convenient peanut gallery is the reason Alita was on the list?
Yes.
Oh my god.
This is why I took so long to get ready.
It should be Brian has his thoughts. It should be Brian is the thought. You got it wrong.
Yeah, but I
Alita,
wanted
queen of
people
the
to
big
know what he
eyes.
actually had, not what he is. At least tonight.
I literally have that exact poster that I'm going to be putting up on my wall tomorrow.
Nice.
Which is funny that you chose that one.
Well, good for you. So you can tell us all about this movie, Bo.
Nope.
Yes.
So, welcome everybody to our final anime movie Krwby talk before we get back to RWBY. Except this isn't an anime movie.
I mean, did you see the size of her eyes?
I know, they freak me out, man.
It's so uncanny. I'm sorry. I know they're trying to be all. There's like a serious scene going on, and then like she just looks at the camera. I'm like, whoa.
I'll have you.
Like
I'll have you know, Annika straight up thinks Alita's eyes are offensive.
Oh my god, Annika would.
like
I
offensive
stopped
to anime
noticing.
characters?
I literally stopped noticing it on like the scene where she bites the orange. Like that's how quickly I stopped noticing it.
Wow. It was not that quick for me. I must have.
I was able to get on board with it. We're showing like the scenes of battle with like the other Martians. I was like, okay, I guess Martians just have like big eyes or some shit.
I like how they did that, so it's not just like, well, why does she have really big eyes? And
yeah,
it doesn't like.
It's like, oh, they just all have big eyes.
Yeah,
that's just how Martians, I guess.
Yep. The Martians need to see better than other people. But yeah, welcome guys. We are talking about Alita, Battle Angel, which is a Hollywood blockbuster film of a manga, which I'm spacing the name of at the moment. Does anybody know what the manga is called? Because it wasn't Alita Battle Angel. But yeah, so
I don't know.
First of all, this is, believe it or not, I just found out today, Annika was telling me, Alita actually has been adapted into an anime before.
So, it was called Battle Angel Alita.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Alita.
So it literally... no, that was just me pronouncing it wrong because I'm dumb. It was just Alita.
Oh. Gotcha.
God!
What did they change? Why did they change the character's name? What does it mean?
It means I'm dumb. Move on.
It's interesting because Annika told me that the anime is called Gun Dream.
Huh.
What?
Yeah.
That's
Why?
Is it because they don't have guns and they're all dreaming about having guns? Is that what it is about?
I mean, some of these guys have guns. They're just very few and far between.
No, they're not supposed to.
Oh, hey, look who's in the chat. Annika's in the chat.
I love this movie so much.
I
want you guys to know I fought tooth and nail for this movie to be put up in the vote, and I'm very happy that it won.
Of course it won. It's a Hollywood blockbuster, Bo.
I know. That's why I suggested it.
Tina,
yeah, but also we're not talking about we don't talk about fucking Avengers here. We talk about anime. I'm
sorry. Let me find the Avengers theme right now. We're gonna have some background music for this. We are changing the movie.
But yeah, so let's just go around the table here, and what were your impressions of the film? Did you enjoy it? Let's start with Bo.
I really honestly, like, overall I did thoroughly enjoy it. There are some things that I'm just kind of like, it could have been done better. I personally, and I'm assuming several people at least here are of the same variety, haven't read or seen any of the pre-existing like source material
Mhm.
Nope.
movie is based off of. However, I personally felt like it was enough to not necessarily feel like there was a whole lot missing. Like I wasn't really left super confused.
It wasn't like referencing the source
And that
material a
was
lot in ways
yeah,
that an audience not used to it couldn't
mhm,
figure out, right?
yeah, yeah. That's how
Yeah,
I felt personally.
I got that
Um,
too.
I actually didn't go and see it until so when this was in theaters, it was during Comic-Con. And when we were at Comic-Con, Krwby did a movie night, and half of us went and saw How to Train Your Dragon 3 and
Mhm.
the other half went and saw Alita Battle Angel. And I actually didn't see Alita Battle Angel. I wanted to see How to Train Your Dragon, and it wasn't until I heard how much the other half loved this movie that I was like, "Damn, I feel like I should have gone to see that." So I went and saw it like a week later or so. I loved it though.
Okay.
Well,
Ian.
I think I'll go next. First of all, hey Kira, here's your shout out from the chat. Second of all, I'll be quite honest. The movie was okay for me. I was not overwhelmed. I was not underwhelmed. I was just whelmed.
You were just whelmed.
That is an old reference.
Oh my god.
That is
I
an
don't
old
understand it, but
reference.
all right.
I think it's a Teen Titans reference, if I recall,
Not bad.
or it was it's a very old reference. But I could literally see the plot turning ahead of me. I could see it coming almost every step, including one of the big plot reveals with Hugo.
Mhm.
That would come very near to the end of the movie. I as soon as we were within about like 20-ish minutes of that scene happening, I was like, yeah, I can tell where we're going here. I see it. I see it right
See the
here.
writing on the walls.
It's plain as day. I'm not going to say
Mhm.
it's a bad movie. I'm just going to say that it wasn't for me, and I have a number of reasons why it wasn't.
That's her.
Okay, Forrest.
Well, I will say, like you know what Ian was saying. Um, I think token love interest guy was probably the weakest part of this movie. I think they could have
That is fair.
they probably could have structured the movie around just not having him in it, and probably have been all right.
No,
You know?
I 100% agree. As soon as he like lost his head, and I was like, oh, he doesn't have his abs anymore. I don't care. Like,
Oh, is that what you? All right, all right. I was a
That's
little.
what this is what Brian's here for.
Those abs, huh?
He's here
no,
for
like
Hugo.
so I watched this movie with Annika last night, right? And
Uh,
we got to that scene where he was like in bed shirtless, and both Annika and I basically at the same time were like, damn.
oh my god.
Oh my god.
Whereas, see, that's like me, like when she gets her like actual body and like does the like single finger like push up and like
Yeah.
just balances on one finger completely, and I was just like, damn.
I didn't understand. They had like, okay, to jump ahead a little bit. I didn't understand that scene because they put her in the new suit, right, or the new body,
Mhm.
and she like the nanotech changes form, and all it really does is like slim her down a little bit and give her bigger boobs. Like that's the thing that it did.
Well,
I don't know
but I mean,
why,
the
but
point. I personally felt like the point of it was because he up until that point he'd been treating her like this little girl, like his little girl that he literally gave her name and gave her body,
that's true.
and she had the body of a little girl too. Like she was
Yeah.
not built like a woman, and the fact of the matter was is that even the like assistant, the nurse, is like, looks like she's older than you thought she was.
the
Like,
assistant, the nurse who had all of 5 lines in the whole movie. Why was
Yeah.
she there, man? Like,
Window dressing, Brian. Window dressing.
Because they needed the robot arm person to show that the Doc makes robot arms for people.
Yeah, because he named her after his dead cat in the manga.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh
That's rough,
This
buddy.
guy has a problem. When his wife was like, "Oh, I'm not the one with like, issues letting go." Oh, I was like, "Yeah, no, you're right."
No. That's not what the problem. He just needs a better naming convention, okay?
So
I kind of liked that they had that scene where it was kind of like, oh, that's really cool, because it was like when she first gets the body, like it's a very like androgynous looking body, like it's not necessarily masculine, it's not necessarily feminine, and then the second it's like connected, it becomes her body. And I always thought that that was kind of an interesting thing, that it was like, oh wow, it's actually adapting to her own mental image of herself.
That it interfaces with. I would assume that it's run by some sort of AI system that like controls the nanotech and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, as far as my impressions of the movie, I would go so far as to say that I was underwhelmed. I know that Annika and I were watching this film last night, and it took me about a full hour to feel like I understood like what this movie was trying to do. And I know that it took Annika even longer to get into it. So yeah, I have oh so many issues with this movie, but at the same time, I don't regret watching it, because goddamn that motorball sequence.
Let me correct
I was gonna
you.
say,
It took Annika 90 minutes.
This movie is just it like such a flex on like CGI. I feel like to a certain degree. Like one of my favorite things. I was rewatching it yesterday, even though I watched it about 2 weeks ago with Tina, for her first time. And so I was making some notes and whatnot, some notes. I just ended up just sitting down and watching it and forgetting to take notes, but I remember like specific parts that I really like and that I want to talk about. But one of my first things that I wrote is actually just in all caps the details on the arms and like the legs. Like I remember, I think I was watching it with Stephen Mitchell was there with us when Tina and I were watching it, and he was like telling us stuff that he had like heard about, like the models that they used for it and how like insanely detailed they were. And I was just like, oh, it's like I feel like it's basically like animation or like modeling porn. Basically, it's just like, yes, this is good. Give me that good shit.
Yeah, no, it really came together with the robot roller derby battle royale thing. Whatever that was, that was what I came to see. I see in the trailer, I was like, hey, there's gonna be roller derby robots beating the snot out of each other. We got that. I'm happy.
So my favorite thing, and I also made a note of it, is, and as soon as I say it, if you didn't make this connection yourself already, is I love that the first time she sees like the like the video of like the motorball and whatnot, and she's just like, what is that? And then she just like it becomes that thing that she just sneaks away to go play. I was like, man, I'm getting some Legend of Korra vibes with pro bending here.
Yeah.
And Tenzin being like, no, you don't have time for pro bending. You can't go out. It's useless. It's pointless. Don't do it. And she's just like, fuck you, Dad. I do what I want.
I got kind of Moana vibes too in that same sense, but it's the same character trope.
Yeah, it's the fuck you, Dad. I do what I want.
You can't do the thing you want to do. Don't do that thing, but it's the thing I was destined to do because plot.
Yeah, she's the battle angle.
The battle angle. Yes.
So I guess let's move right in into our discussion. So what do you guys think of the characters in this film?
I think the most interesting character to me, apart from our protagonist, was Nova as our villain.
Okay.
I really dug how he would just possess somebody with technology It's just like, I am looking through your eyes, seeing through your senses, yada yada yada, and controlling you from X number of miles, in the sky. Like, I really dug that power move. Like, I don't even need to see you in person. I just need to use my little vessel down here, who I use as a convenient way of communicating with you lay people. And his, 1 second, but and his just lack of humanity and how he says that is the only thing he takes pleasure in, is like the suffering of other people. I find him by far more interesting than the protagonist in that respect.
Okay.
I agree with you. I liked his possession power, especially as like the unseen puppet master type. Being able to literally possess people is that very in keeping with his evil villainy.
Yeah, I think that it was so. My issue with our big bad is that obviously, the movie did not end with us defeating the big bad, so we don't really get to
sequels.
We don't really get to spend a whole lot of time with him. It definitely felt like they were setting him up to be the big bad for the next movie.
Yeah.
And which at the beginning very, very, very deeply confused me, because it took me about half the movie to realize that Grwishka was supposed to be the big bad for this film.
Yeah.
How did it take you half the movie? He wears all black and sun. Okay, let me break it down for you. Okay. Love interest boy wears all black but not sunglasses. He's cool. Bad guy wears all black and sunglasses.
That's
He's
not
the villain.
Grwishka.
Is it not? No.
Grwishka was the big guy, the big cyborg dude.
See, you didn't even realize he was the big bad.
He was the big bad. It was the dude pulling the strings.
He was the muscle.
The big dude that gets his shit kicked in like 4 times.
Yeah,
he's the guy I'm talking. Guy.
The bad guy who was Vector, possessed by Nova. Vector was his name.
Well, like, okay, so he's the guy pulling the strings, but like
he's the bad guy.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I never felt like Vector was well written, because we don't get to spend a whole lot of time with him as Vector. Most of the time that he's doing evil things is when he's being possessed by Nova. So they were really setting up Nova in that regard. But then when they were when Alita went into the bar to like recruit all the bounty hunters, she was like talking about how Grwishka was the big bad.
That's my favorite scene, by the way, is the fucking bar scene.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you my favorite part about the bar scene has nothing to do with the fight. My favorite part about the bar scene is everybody beating the shit out of each other, and the dog guy just sitting there chilling, just watching everyone beat the shit out of each other.
So, until Ito's like, no more free repairs, and everybody stops.
Yeah, that was good.
The thing that I like about that scene, and it's a parallel that I'm just like, man, I want to see something like this happen, is like, I want to see, like, I could totally see Ruby doing something like that, like somewhere down the line, maybe in Atlas, like she starts being like, yeah, I'm a huntress, buh, fuck you. Like maybe Ironwood does something to be like, yeah, sure, whatever, you're instated as a huntress, you've been fighting this war for a couple years now, you've seen some of the worst of it, like go for it, be a huntress. And then Ruby just goes to like where all the huntsmen and huntresses are, and it's just like, hello my brethren, let's fuck shit up. And then everyone's just like, who the fuck are you, kid? Like you can see Ruby doing something like that.
See, when Mr. Sword Pretty Face guy, I don't know his name, but that description should work, right? When he laughed at her speech, that was like my reaction, because her speech seems so. You're talking to a bunch of thugs. These guys are bounty hunters. What do you?
my summary for that speech, and then again the parallel of Ruby as a character from Ruby, is Alita and Ruby are the characters that you get when you put all of your skill points into fighting and talking. Like
Not necessarily
that's
reasoning and
it.
insight.
Yeah, not reasoning and insight, just talking at people and then fighting them when they don't get what you're saying.
Basically, paladins. Paladins of virtue, you might say.
Talk at them for a while, and if it doesn't work, fight them.
See, so here's the other thing about the bar fight.
Mm-hmm.
The bar fight, which happens about an hour into the movie, is the first time in the film that I actually felt like I had a grasp on Alita's character.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond, like, before that, both her and all the other characters, I was like, who the fuck are these people? Like, there was so little dialogue throughout a lot of them, and Alita in particular bounced back and forth. She was really inconsistent about who she was. It was like, wait a, like, when she first wakes up, she's sad, then she's running around all excited and being cute, and then she's shy, and then she's a badass. It's just like, who the fuck are you? And
I mean, to be fair, Brian, that may be part of the point of the first half of the movie.
I don't think it is, because according to Annika, who has watched the OVA, the way that it comes off in the OVA is Alita is very, very cute. And when all of a sudden she has that change to badass in that fight in the alleyway, it shocks everyone.
Well,
they're like, this is completely contradictory to your character, and she was like, I guess it is.
It shows up so much earlier in the movie though. Like it literally shows up like I want to say about 10 minutes in when she saves the dog from the Centurion. Like the way she moves is not someone who's just trying to protect a dog. Like she moves.
They did that intentionally.
That's not character though, Bo. That's plot. That says, okay, she has some kind of something in her past that's like, that's a muscle memory kind of thing. Like she's getting ready. So we know that she's going to be a badass. But what I'm talking about is when she gets into the bar, right? It's not just the fact that she's a badass at fighting, it's the way she talks. She's she's sarcastic, she's snippy, she like that it's complete.
She's also been re-establishing her connection to who she is, her memories. She's been getting her memories back, like what's his name? The doctor. He's the one character I always fucking forget his name. The doctor says even at the beginning, he's like, you've got a healthy adolescent girl's brain, or or however healthy that is. Like he's like, I'm not even gonna touch that subject with a 10-foot pole of like what a teenage girl's brain is supposed to be like. Like to be fair, she was like, it's implied that she's been in that fucking trash yard for like centuries.
Yeah, he said 300 years.
It's not even implied. He says she's been there for 300 years.
So, it's like, yo, Avatar, you were stuck in that iceberg for 100 years? Hold my beer.
Yeah, like I don't discount that. My problem is that she is just incredible. Like in the way that she's written, she is incredibly inconsistent through the first half of the film until the point that they decide to settle on this one direction for her. And you can argue that was an intentional choice because she's still trying to figure out who she is. My problem is that is not at all the way it came off.
No, I agree. The bar scene opening, that speech, to me felt very out of place. Like it felt, again, my reaction was the same as, Sword Guy, like just to laugh at it, because it was kind of just like out of the blue, like, oh, now you're gonna give passionate speeches about we have to unite to fight the villains of this world, and like, but like 3 scenes ago you were happy to be eating an orange. I'm confused how we got here in 3 days.
I love when she kicks him in the face and he's just like, "This bitch broke my nose," and she's like, "Yes, I did."
Yes, yes, I did.
She's like, and then like fucking Hugo's just like, he's like ready. He like pulls his fucking like little taser out, and she's just like, "I'm gonna need you to stand way back." She's like, I want you to get hurt.
Yeah,
no, he's not really a fighter, not to the same level.
Yeah,
I believe the words he's a lover, not a fighter would apply here.
I mean, I hate to make this comparison, right? But until that scene, right? Honestly, that little speech that she had, that scene in the bar, she had more dialogue in that scene than she had in the entire first hour of the movie, which is, I think, why I was finally able to be like, okay, this is what we're doing with her. I get it now. And I guess my biggest issue is because up until that point, I felt like all the characters, including Alita, were kind of walking down the same path as Fire Force with their characters, where I was just like, I see what you're trying to do, but you're failing. And as a result, you're asking me to care about these plot points that the characters care about when I still don't care about the characters.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
That's fair.
Well, I think the main character, for me anyways, they characterized her just enough that, again, I will say this movie has a very straightforward plot. I mean, anytime you have floating sky city and undercity below, that, by the way, Iron City is an interesting...
I was about to say, like, you mean fucking Atlas?
Yeah.
Like Atlas,
you mean RWBY Volume 7.
Yep, basically. Like, any kind of floating sky city thing, you're gonna have the same plot, Sky City people bad, Undercity people good, but violent. And when they said, "Oh, down here, the strong rule this world," and it's just like, are you from Earth? Have you seen? Please explain to me a killer whale then, because that's the world today. You don't have to have sci-fi future to have that be the case, but like the plot, because the plot is so, I don't want to say generic, but generic. Basically, the characters write themselves, so they don't really need to characterize them as much, because you kind of know, just based on the formula of the plot, what that character is for and what they're supposed to do.
Right, except that I take an issue with that style of writing because I am personally, like, I am the kind of person who, you can hand me the most boring ass slice of life bullshit ever, but as long as the characters are good and they're well written, I'll fucking watch it even if it has no goddamn plot.
Yeah.
So when you ask me to care about a plot before I care about the characters who care about the plot, I'm not going to care about your plot if I don't care about your characters.
Yeah, that's fair.
Fair enough.
Can I say something actually? And this is something that I just realized because I was thinking about it, because you guys have your laundry list of things that you didn't particularly care for. The thing that I didn't care for the most about this movie is the use of Hugo's like best friend character to deliberately be the guy that's like, I don't like her, she's a fucking cyborg. And then like
Robot
just
racism,
that one scene where the girl that he's hanging with is just like, he's like, she could be an enemy, or she was an enemy, she was an and then the chick's like, yeah, 300 years ago, get over it. Okay, you were an SJW point, like like, so you're basically you're the we're checking off the actual like applicable real life like racism shit, like,
check
and
that
now
box.
we've covered that. Like, that was the one thing that really, I thought that he would, I was hoping that he would have kind of more of a reasoning for not liking her, other than like no one even knew that she was until they showed up into the ship.
And he didn't like her long
he was
before that.
he was there, yeah, he didn't like her before that, and I was honestly like really confused as to why he didn't like her because
she fucked him at fucking Powerball or whatever that one time.
Well, but the thing is that he kicked her ass first. Like he knocked her face down into the dirt 1st.
But nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
He got his ass kicked back, and then he decided he didn't like her and that he was racist. Like,
I mean,
he's like, I'm gonna be racist against all cyborgs because this bitch knocked me in the dirt.
I think I'm going to expand on this a little bit. I don't think he was. I think the racism was merely his excuse. I mean, like after he got pretty humiliated back there when a newbie put his face in the dirt.
I'm not gonna defend how they just chose to write him because I agree. Like, from like a manga adaptation standpoint, I felt like he was one of those characters where I was just kind of like watching the film going, I bet you were way more important in the manga, huh? Like,
it really, you know, and not to say that, you know, like people who aren't like, or people who are like racist or discriminatory don't just exist out of the blue and whatnot. But like one of the things that I noticed first and foremost is like the scene when Alita meets Hugo. It's like he's immediately like, oh, you're a cyborg. That's awesome. Like, you know, oh, like yeah, I was just admiring like your hands and whatnot. Can I see? And like he's so interested by it. And like this whole city is built with cyborgs and has cyborg people living in it. So why is this like kid suddenly just so offended by this one girl's existence?
So so here's my thinking on it, right? And like I said, I'm not defending how they chose to write him because I do feel like he was written poorly. But I will say I think it's important to remember that this dude works for a crew that chops up cyborgs. And I feel like if you're gonna chop up cyborgs, you're already kind of like, in order to do that, like you probably already have a bit of racism under the skin there,
or at least a strong disliking,
or at least a strong dislike. And
I mean, maybe they are. It is a very like.
Hugo doesn't dislike cyborgs, and he still does it.
Like, well, I feel
just do it
like
for the money, right?
which honestly I would consider a writing issue. I think that it would have been much better if he was a little racist towards cyborgs and then like having him come back around, because I feel like the way I interpreted the scene where he's like, oh wow, I was just admiring your hands, like he works for that chop squad too. Like I feel like he was just like, maybe a target, and and then like he found out that like she was like one of the doctors, and he was like, oh shit, never mind, she off limits. Like I respect this dude.
Yeah.
You know,
his racism has its limits.
Yeah,
he's like, listen, I'm racist, but I'm not that racist.
I'm racist, but I like to live. Thanks.
Also, like, like with the friend character that you were talking about, that was just seemed to like hate Alita for no reason. Like that dude, when he gets chopped in half, and like
he does.
Yeah, my reaction to that was just like, oh no, he's dead. What was his name again?
What was that guy? The guy.
Yeah, that dude.
The guy. He's dead.
Kind of shifting a little bit. Some of the my favorite moments are the moments where it's just kind of like, it's just this really like blatantly obvious statement, and it's like one of the characters will say what everyone's thinking, and you're just like, yeah, that's like, do you not realize that? And my favorite example of that is when she's like, cool, I'm in my first race, I'm here, what's up guys, go easy on me, y'all look pretty cool, those are some big knives over there. And then like the doctor's like, Alita, get out of there, they're gonna kill you. And she's like, which ones? And he's like, all of them. It's just like,
she looks
all of
around
them are staring at her.
Yeah.
They give her the evil eye, and then the one guy
and then she's just like, wish I roll high enough to these bastards.
Here's my thing
Well,
though,
she was sizing him up, you know. She's like, yeah, I think I could take all of. Yeah,
see,
yeah.
how does it take Alita like so long to figure out? It's like, what makes you think it's just one? It's like it's
Which
all
one?
of them.
All of them.
It's like,
yeah, when
look
someone
around you.
frantically calls you on the phone, they're trying to kill you. Like, you don't ask how many. Just
Also, can we talk about the fact that Alita still won the motorball after fucking leaving the arena? Like, they let her back in. Like, they were like, I guess it makes sense because she killed everybody. But
yeah, that's why.
She literally killed all the competition.
I really loved the line where they kind of subtly name dropped, where it was like the face of an angel and a body built for battle. Like, I thought that was kind of a cool line. I was like, hey, I see what you did there. Like, I love when they do stuff like that. Like, any kind of media, when they don't explicitly say the title, but they find a way to work it in.
Yeah, I mean, they did say it
was
later,
kinda
right?
cool.
I'm pretty sure they just start calling her Battle Angel at the end.
Yeah, they
right?
say it like at the end when she's like coming out. And can we talk about how cool, not the ending gear, but like her initial, the first time she does motorball, like how cool her like armor looks and everything, like the really dark purple and like the shoulder pads. Like, honestly, I want to cosplay
helmet.
that outfit. Like, it's so cool looking.
He put training wheels on it at first and then took them off, like.
Yeah.
Because the doctor made all that stuff, right? And he was like, "Yeah, you need these pads, and okay, have fun at your first day at school. Don't kill the competition too much."
Man,
it's like, it makes me think of The Incredibles when Dash is in track and they're just like, he's just like taking his time and they're like, hurry up, and then he passes everyone. They're like, no, ease it back, second place, go for second. Like,
yeah,
I remember that scene.
That's how I feel the doctor was with Alita.
Yeah. So, from, I guess, both a character and a writing standpoint, I want to talk about one of the things, and you guys have already kind of hit on it a little bit. I think, Forrest, you were the one who said that you felt like this was the weakest part of the movie. And that is Hugo, the
token love interest
the
guy.
Token love interest guy. Yeah, so I 100% agree with that. I really didn't find him an interesting character. The love scene was just super phoned in when, like, they first kiss and whatnot. But Annika tells me that apparently in the OVA, he, like, Alita's love is actually unrequited. Like, he does not love her back. Like, she has a one-sided crush on him, and I like that so much better. Like, that sounds way more interesting.
Yeah, I really, I was not a fan of like the shoehorned in romance. That it was just like, since we're kind of checking some boxes here.
Yeah.
Let's check a few more boxes.
Yeah, let's check
Hollywood
a few more
that.
boxes. Like, honestly, the fact that you could just you could honestly remove the whole like romance out of it and just have had them become very good friends, and the impact would have still been there, like of him like regretting still tearing up the cyborgs after he became friends with her. Like, they could have very well been friends and had the same impact.
This will be the second time I reference Moana in this, which is very confusing to me, but that movie was a good movie that didn't have any love interest character. Just none. And it didn't need it. Like, you don't need the token love interest thing to shoehorn into the middle of, because it distracts from the plot and stuff. And basically my problem with his character started from the minute we first see him, right? Where she sees him, and just like the orange, she's fascinated. Oh, those abs. I don't know what it was, but like, immediately love interest, right? Like, you just, as soon as they see each other and as soon as he sees her, and it's that kind of like love at first sight nonsense that's just like, oh, please, come on. But to be fair, and maybe this is unfair, I I don't know if I like the actor. I don't think he's a very good actor. I hate to, yeah, don't mean to say,
real quick,
bad things about
Tom
actors.
Luton,
But...
that's not Wesley Snipes on the poster. That's
this now leads into another thing that Annika and I were complaining about, and that is the acting in the film. We felt like the acting was very lackluster, not just from him, but from a lot of actors.
Which is interesting because there's actually a pretty decent roster of of actors. Like one of my favorite actresses, I've been a fan of hers ever since the first time I saw Labyrinth. Jennifer Connelly.
Was she the wife of the doctor?
Yeah, Dr. Shirin. She, and can we talk about again just like full 180? Like I get what they were trying to do, but like their execution of it, where it's like where she just decides to help them finally after she's been kind of not helping them, not even necessarily anything against them personally, but to specifically spite her ex-husband. Like,
well, because was her whole plot motivation like, no, I've moved on, you haven't moved on, I'm going to blow up your robot battle child because you haven't moved on? Like I don't understand her motivation at all. And then she like does a complete 180 because she sees the robot battle child that looks like her daughter kind of, but not really, help another person. It was all very forced, I felt like.
Yeah, no, it was so. As far as the acting is concerned, right? Because you're right, there is a pretty decent roster of actors in this movie. As a matter of fact, Annika was pointing out actors that she's seen in other stuff that she really liked, and it's definitely led us believe that that the problem is not the actor's fault, is that they had a bad director.
That's how I felt. Like one time I saw this production. I mean, and I'm going to preface this with my least favorite stage show of all time is Cats. Has always been and will always be my favorite stage production. Full offense to anyone who loves that show. I don't understand it. It's whatever. Anyways, is like, the first time I ever saw it, I was like, I really don't get it. It wasn't a good show. And then like my friend who is obsessed with the show was like, yeah, I think that the actors did the best that they could with the script they had. I'm like, it's the same script. Like it's a stage production. Like it's the same script every single time. It's like it'd be like saying someone did the best they could with Romeo and Juliet.
It's almost like it's the same script every time, just by different people.
Yeah, no, like and that just reminded me of that because it was just like, yeah, I think that it's really kind of unfortunate that the writing was kind of so cringe and kind of so bad, was because I think that with the cast of characters that they had, like with the roster of actors, like it could have been really, really, really good if the script had been more solid.
Well, they had frickin' oh god, what's his name? Hans Landa, Christoph Waltz, right, as the doctor.
Yeah,
he's a great actor.
And yet I felt like his performance was very lackluster too. So I mean, and now part of it is, as you're talking about, because that was another issue that Annika and I had with, especially toward the beginning of the movie, was the script. Yeah, as Annika says, the script is basically ripped directly from the English dub of the OVA.
They based the script on an English dub of an anime? Do they know how well that usually goes?
Listen, it did better than Atlas, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like there was definitely a lot of elements of the script that Annika and I were really not liking. Like they had a lot of phoned in, like he was like, wait, like he found you in the scrapyard, then that would mean conveniently gets cut off, and like I feel like to a certain extent, if you have like that's not super great writing, but to a certain extent, if you have a good director and you have good actors, there are ways that you can sell that. And I think it's easier to sell that kind of thing in animation too, because you're already having to suspend some disbelief just by the change in medium. I feel like you can get away with more of that kind of stuff in animation. But
just because they're less human-like, and
just because it's already less realistic. But yeah, like there was definitely, it was just kind of like, wow, I probably would have gone with something different there.
I do want to say, like, all of this isn't this podcast, because there were obviously there were a lot of people that were really excited to hear us cover this movie. And because they liked it. Like when you did the announcement yesterday that it was Alita that was being covered, there were a lot of people that were like, yes, I'm so hype, I love the movie, I love the series. I've honestly, from people who were or are fans of the original source material, I've honestly heard more good things about the movie, that they actually thoroughly enjoyed the movie, that it kind of was, even though the writing was kind of shoddy and whatnot, it's almost kind of crazy how uncontroversial it is, compared to hearing all these differences in comparison to how the OVA is, how the series is, and whatnot. It's kind of interesting that it's honestly like it's being hailed as one of the best adaptations, which is kind of like, huh, that's interesting.
Interesting.
So I'm almost wondering, I'm kind of sad that I don't have that connection to the actual source material, because I like, my cousin, who is super like anything like late 70s and like all of 80s anime, like like old school anime, like he's very defensive of, like, he despises the mere existence of She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, because he grew up with He-Man and the original She-Ra, and those were, no offense, horribly written, because they were written about toys.
They're written to sell you toy products. Yes.
But it's like,
also
don't
see Transformers, but
yeah, but it's like, and so he's the kind of person that's like, don't you dare touch any of my original source material here, and he like adores this movie because of how it apparently brought it to life in the way that it was kind of described.
See,
Macross was made. Shut up, Annika! Don't bring Macross into this horrible series.
But like I haven't read the original source material for Alita Battle Angel, but from hearing the differences, like I'm hearing so many things where I feel like, man, like this sounds like it was so much better in the manga, like because I hated the phoned in romance, like I hated the pacing of it, I hated the fact that I felt like I didn't understand who these characters were for the first hour, like and so from that regard, I feel like a good adaptation, yeah, some things are going to be different, but a good adaptation is still going to capture the original feeling of the source material, and it's still going to bring that same enchantment, that same interest, that same wonder to it. And I definitely feel like I've watched, so I feel like anybody who's saying that this is one of the best adaptations has not seen enough good adaptations, because
there's not a whole lot out there that are actually legitimately good.
I was gonna say, isn't this kind of a low-hanging fruit kind of thing? Like, as far as animated
I completely
movie
disagree. I think that when it comes to anime adaptations, right? I think that the My Hero Academia incredible adaptation. I think that Promised Neverland is an incredible anime adaptation. I think there are loads of really good adaptations out there.
No. We're talking about live action adaptations.
Oh, well, that's
yeah.
okay. That's a little different.
Their competition is Last Airbender.
Well,
Dragon
no,
Ball Z.
We don't talk about
Last
that.
Airbender,
Dragon
Ball Z,
Super
and the Lightning Thief.
No,
Yeah.
we don't talk about that one either. No.
Well, I mean, like, then arguably, then you also got to include like Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings.
Harry Potter and Lord of the
Those-
Rings are pedestal grade. Like, they will be revered for all of time. Like, even
though
when the
Harry
apocalypse...
Potter is really not accurate to the books at all.
It's
the
pretty
first movie
accurate.
and the first of the 2 seventh movie, those ones are accurate to the book. The rest of them,
The rest of them
But
follow
anyways,
in enough. Whatever, we're getting off track here. Let's go back.
The point of it is that for live action anime adaptations, I think that was the thing, is that people at any time it's like, oh cool, we're getting a live action of this, people just default to, oh god, it's gonna be another Last Airbender.
and this one wasn't. This
Full
one,
offense. Full offense.
That movie doesn't exist. They couldn't have made that. It would have been a mistake if they did.
M. Night Shyamalan? Who's M. Night Shyamalan?
I'm glad those trailers we saw never actually made it into a real movie.
So did we just step into the alternate timeline now? Are we here?
I still think
did make it into film.
Yes. That's the world we live in.
My last thing about the Last Airbender, just to make fun of that movie one more time. My favorite meme that I've ever seen, because actually the one good thing that came from that movie is that Asami's voice actress from Legend of Korra was Yue in the live action adaptation. And there's a meme going around because they whitewashed the entire cast and everything. Like they cast all these white people to play like the Water Tribe people and whatnot.
Or didn't they make the Fire Nation Indian for some reason?
They did. They went not diverse enough for things that really should have been, and then they went way too diverse for things that didn't need it. But like my favorite meme was like Sokka being like, "Why is your hair white?" And then Yue's like, "Why are you?" And then it's just like it shows like the series of Sokka. But anyways, this, as far as live action adaptations go, I honestly, from what, like I said, from what I've heard from people that are fans of it, I've heard that it's definitely not Avatar levels.
I mean, that's fair. I believe that. There are very few things that...
I would like to ask, since we've been on for almost an hour now, and most of what we've said has kind of been in the critique department, I'd like to see if people can rack their brains, for those who didn't like it. What's one positive thing you liked about this movie?
Oh, well, that's easy.
That wasn't the roller derby robot battle.
Oh, that's harder.
Yeah.
So I really from a technical standpoint, I'm blown away by the CGI. As Bo was saying earlier, it really felt like it was just like a one big flex.
Oh,
where
yeah.
They were just like, look what the fuck we can do.
Get what our budget can afford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll make our character have big eyes the entire movie.
I'm gonna say probably my favorite outside of like the the motorball sequence is honestly that alleyway sequence, that alleyway fight, like when she first really kind of like kicks into gear. One of my favorite shots of the whole movie is right after she punches that dude's face in and she just stands up, and like the way she's standing over him, I remember watching it for my first time and being like, damn, you could not knock her over with a semi if you tried. Like, she's just so solid and so grounded. And I just remember being like, I really just loved like the power that was kind of emanating from her. Like that scene, I guess kind of similarly with like the bar fight scene, because I love the bar fight scene. Like it's just so entertaining for so many different reasons for me.
I love the scene where she jumps on top of the table and then kicks the 2 beer glasses into the guy's faces. That didn't need to be there, but I'm glad that it was.
Yeah. No, I really like that alleyway scene.
I will say that I think that as far as anime style action adapted into live action is concerned, I felt like they did that pretty damn well. This is probably one of the best adaptations of anime action I've seen in live action. I could definitely tell like that that when it came to like I'm sure that they had a whole separate like choreography team and whatnot that were figuring all that shit out. But God, like I what it must have been like to be on that team, and it's like, okay, our homework is watch badass action anime. You know?
Yeah. Well, you could definitely see like her. I forget what they called it in the movie, but like her fighting style, like her martial arts
Panzerkunst
style. That, which I don't know.
Why is it German?
Yeah, Panzer. I don't know, but it's definitely I don't know that much about martial arts, like very little. But it looked like it has a lot of elements of. There's probably some wushu in there, just because, it's very, like, it looks cool. It's very flashy, but I definitely saw some elements of Wing Chun in there, which is like an older Chinese martial arts style, and that's pretty cool. Because if you've seen any of the Ip Man movies, yeah, it's a good showcase of like Wing Chun cool stuff. The guy that was in if you saw the Rogue One Star Wars movie with the totally he's a martial arts Jedi kind of guy. That's the same actor.
Star Wars Toph, male Star Wars Toph, because that's exactly what he was.
Basically, yes, male Star Wars Toph. Anyways, I like the
is German for tank art.
The art of it.
Oh, that makes sense.
Panzer's tank. Yeah, okay. But why tank? Interesting.
Cause she a tank.
She's a DPS and a tank.
Isn't she she's like a they call it berserker, right? That's like the opposite of a tank.
That would be the barbarian. But
that would be the barbarian. Like... That's what you get when the tank and the DPS have a kid.
Or are just the same person, but yes.
Fair enough.
High crit potential.
So something that I definitely wanted to talk about, because I felt such a connection to, like, probably the most connection to Hugo I felt in the entire movie was when Alita is like, "Here, take my heart." Like,
I love that scene so much.
Hugo, I felt Hugo's discomfort so hard, where it's just like, no, I'm good. Like, you need that. Like, I'll keep it figuratively.
She like puts it back in, and she's just like, that got intense.
Yeah.
Oops.
That is.
She went full yandere for a moment there, I feel like.
Yeah, no, that was definitely like, okay, you're scaring me now. Please put your heart back in your chest.
Speaking about that scene, though, like the attention to detail, because I don't know if you noticed, but when she has her heart out, you can actually see her hand like jarring with every heartbeat, like with the weight of her heart. I thought that was such a cool detail. The fact that it was like because it's still beating, it wouldn't be not beating. Right, and like the fact that it rattles every beat, and I just thought that was really a cool detail. I was like, damn, that's definitely not something that I would have noticed initially. I didn't notice it until like the second or third time I saw the movie, and I was like, huh, that's really cool.
That's a good eye for detail. Whoever animate, like all the little pieces that move inside whenever they like open her up to like do a check-in with the doc, and there's like all these little bits and pieces that are moving around. And
the scene that makes me laugh, that I just kind of am like, you know what, okay, fine, is the fact that Hugo literally doesn't really show her any kind of romantic interest until she shows up with the berserker body, and it's like, oh, hi, you don't look like a lolly anymore. Like, and she's like, yeah, I've got this like badass new body, and I can feel things too. Well, she could feel things before in the other body, and so it's just like, cool, I'm gonna just like touch you all over and make it all sexy like and whatnot. And it's just kind of like, yeah, okay.
Like It's so funny too because like the jokes that Annika and I were making was like when Hugo's like sleeping with his shirt off and whatnot, and then he just like wakes up and she's in the window. Like we were just like, was she was just like there. She was just like she came in to wake him up, but then saw that he was shirtless and was like, you know what? I'm gonna let him sleep.
I'm gonna let him sleep.
I don't know why,
I'm
but
I'm just
like,
gonna admire. Like...
the way you said that makes me think of sea monkeys, like of like Neptune and Sun, where Sun's just asleep and Neptune like goes in to wake him up, and he's just like, I'm gonna just let him sleep. Neptune just crouched in the window.
Yeah, like that's definitely the vibe. Like so it's like her interest was like, ooh, them abs, and then
window
he was
shopping,
and then like his interest was like, that Martian body.
That
Hey,
nanotech suit.
That nanotech.
He's got a
into
thing
aliens,
for foreign
man.
women.
Yeah, really foreign.
Yeah.
Ford is into this planet
out
foreign.
of this world.
Different planet. Yeah, out of.
So I have to ask: by the end of the movie, was anybody else in the place where I was just like, you know what, Alita, just end it all, just fuck it everything up, like take down the Sky City,
Burn it all,
like and Iron City, just finish what the Martians started, because everybody's terrible.
Yeah.
You know what I don't understand is if Zalem is so bad, why doesn't she take that badass sword that she has now and cut all the little cables so it goes floating away?
Just floats off into. I don't know if the cables are keeping it tethered or if the cables.
No, the cables are transport lines for the factories. Because
they're not taut, right? There's some slack in the cables, so I would assume they're not keeping it tethered, right?
Mm-hmm. Also, can we talk? Yeah, no, they're transport lines. Also, can we talk about the fucking cable defenses?
Yeah, that was pretty intense.
That's scary.
Yeah, dude. Somebody had some fun with that.
So, it's like if you could imagine what a garbage disposal looks like outside.
Like a reverse garbage disposal. Yeah, that's.
So it's like it's all like scary and dangerous and whatnot, right? But like, it begs the question: what the fuck happens to the factories down below?
I presume it stops before it gets there. I don't know.
I like to believe that it just destroys the factory.
I think they probably have like a receiver at the back end to send it back up.
Yeah, my guess is it doesn't.
It's like, hey, can you take your out extrovert garbage disposal back, please?
We don't want it here.
It's really it's doing a number on the lawn.
We'll even do the favor of cleaning it.
We just got new petunias planted and it's just tearing them up.
We'll clean the Martian battle angel guts out of it and everything.
It'll be like what's his name from RVB, the random like phone line. Well, his name was Vic, wasn't it?
Yeah, Vic.
He's just like,
what's up, dude? How's it going, dude?
He's just like, not cool, dude. Take that shit back. No, like it's cool, like, but it's also like it was interesting because as soon as, and that's I guess kind of going back to the topic we covered earlier, was like a lot of kind of predictability, was that it's Hugo keeps talking about wanting to go up to Zalem and everything, and he says at one point like, I'm gonna just climb up the supply line, and then they show that flashback of like the supply line defense system, and I'm like,
no, don't do it.
Yeah, and then they show him climbing up there, and I'm just like,
I was confused when she's like, because she's like, wait, don't go. There's a killer disposal that's gonna, like, I would have started with that when trying to convince someone not to go up it, right? Not like, oh, but you have to stay here with me. You can't go up there. Be like, dude, they said it has blades on it. That's all you need to know.
He almost had it. Like, to be fair, he almost had it. He almost made it.
Yeah, in the he almost had it. Anakin, third Star Wars movie almost had it.
He gets chopped up the same way that she gets chopped up earlier in the movie too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
No,
the
like
parallels.
Just one arm and a torso, or half a torso.
I was having Volume 3 flashbacks.
Ooh. Yikes.
That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
So, I have to say, like, so obviously, we talked about it. Like, I'm not a big fan of Hugo. Like, I was just in it for the abs. And so when he got his robot body, I was like, oh, I don't care about him anymore. And then, like, when he went up the thing, because we had already known that they had, like, outside garbage disposals on those tables, right? And so I was just like,
Atlas has outside garbage disposal.
They must at this point.
I was just like, oh man, like he gonna get chopped up, and then up, like I was literally like, with Alita saving him, like in his arm breaking, I was just like, drop him, drop him, drop him, drop him.
See, like as soon as he started walking up that thing, I was thinking to myself, man, have you ever accidentally had a spoon fall down into your garbage disposal?
And you're just like,
because that's what's about to happen to this motherfucker.
You gotta go in and get the spoon out, and you gotta reach around in there, and you really hope that it it's off, right? We're really sure that it's off.
Like you gotta make sure, like press the button, make sure that it's off.
Yeah.
So I also gotta point out that during the makeout scene where Alita and Hugo like first kiss, both Annika and I were sitting there going like, and now yeet her off the balcony. Like, we were just like, do it. Because we were so like upset with that scene and how phoned in it was. We were like, do something unexpected, just yeet her off the balcony. It'll make the scene a million times better.
See, and now I'm gonna make the Moana reference. I have that standard now because there's that scene where like Maui and Moana are talking on the ship, and he's like, yeah, okay, whatever, I'll help you. And she's like, good. And then he just yeets her off the boat. And then she comes back and he's like, had to try again, sorry. Like, I have that standard now where I just want to see people, like, yeet people off of something just to see if it works. Be gone. Thought?
That's funny.
So I have a thought about one particular character other than Hugo.
Okay.
And it was Damascus Sword Boy.
Oh my god, the one with like built-in tattoos.
Yeah, like
he's got the Mayan calendar on his back.
With fucking laser printed tattoo.
Yeah, basically. Here's my thought: is what a waste of a character, because I expected him to be like the kind of dude who would be like, after he gets the crap beat out of him, he's actually a decent guy. It's like, you're just a dick all the way through. That sucks.
I mean, he got his face sliced off, so like.
Okay,
that was worth it.
But best character is the dog dude, obviously.
Yes, best character is dog bounty.
I don't like that.
It's not the dog dude. It's just his dogs.
It's just this dog.
Just
the one dog.
No. It's 100% dog guy, because like he fucking comes to the rescue with fucking giant dude, and then like after giant dude runs away, he's just like, man, that guy wasn't no dog lover. Like
it's like he didn't help because he had any connection to any of these other people. He just doesn't like people who kill his dogs. Like
there's a website for and it's I want to say it's called Does the Dog Die .com or something like that.
Yeah, I know there's one.
And it's
that sounds terrible.
It's just a list of like every movie out there that they can possibly update it with, and it's just like you just put like the name of the movie and it'll just be like, yeah, the dog dies, or like, no, the dog doesn't die, or the dog dies but then it gets reincarnated and then it dies again and it gets reincarnated. That's a dog's journey.
An endless cycle of suffering.
Yeah, it's an endless
every
cycle.
Tim Burton movie ever,
so how does that movie categorize All Dogs Go to Heaven?
Oh god. I'm gonna look it up now.
Man. No, that, I mean, like, Fucking like type in Old Yeller. The website's just like, oh boy,
yeah.
my dude.
Don't watch this movie. Do not watch this movie.
Spoilers.
Oh man, so it not only says yes, it tells you how many deaths there are.
Oh my god.
Does the dog die? All dogs go to heaven. 12 yeses. Are the animals abused? Yes.
Yikes.
Are there bugs? Yes. Are there ghosts? Yes. Oh, it's got like everything. It's not just about like does someone have a seizure? It's got like all potential trigger warnings. That's actually kind of cool. I want to see.
Does it have epilepsy trigger warnings? I wonder.
It does.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know that Annika and I were like real upset that they decided not to show the dog dying. Like that could have been so traumatic.
I think that's probably why they didn't show it.
I know, but they show it in the OVA.
Yeah, but it's anime. You can't. It's okay.
Oh, dog guy is Murdoch. Murdoch is, and then Zapan was the fucking douche canoe with the sword.
Yeah, but like he was.
Douche canoe.
I felt like he was supposed to be a bit more important than he was. It's like, yeah, you seem like the kind of guy who's gonna become a good guy by the end of the movie, or at least somebody we're not going to hate by the end of the movie.
I'm really worried that guy is what Jean's gonna be in Volume 7 with his new haircut.
Save that conversation for next week.
Yeah, I'm gonna just make a note of it and be like, Jean equals Zapan.
Yes, he's gonna start. He's gonna tattoo the Mayan calendar on his back and start playing with a sword that's, too big for his britches.
Oh my god.
That sword is cool though. Like, let's be real though. That sword is cool. Like,
I like how she turns it into a lightsaber.
Yeah, right?
Can we just talk about that there was a lightsaber?
Second, and this is obviously coming from someone who doesn't know anything about.
Zapan also dates Dog Guy's daughter? What?
And Dog Guy hates him for it. Is as soon as she was like, I like when she like first gets the berserker body and her finger's on fire, and then the doctor's just like, yeah, I don't know how you do that. Like,
it's probably a weapon.
Man, I'll bet you. Oh, I completely forgot my favorite part. Okay, my actual favorite part of the movie, you guys, speaking about the sword, is when Vector dies while Nova's controlling him, and he's just like, oh, well, that looks fatal.
Yeah.
He's so nonchalant.
Yeah.
He's just like, it was like Olaf, like, oh, look at that, I've been impaled.
He's like, damn, do I have to call in the warranty on this?
Like, oh man, I just finished paying it off.
And I liked this jacket too.
Now there's blood on it. You know how hard blood is to get out of clothes? Like,
oh man.
But anyways, overall, I still like, even with its ups and downs, like I still I feel like it's a very fun movie. It's a very entertaining movie. It's exciting. Not the best storytelling, obviously, but like I really got into it because I had heard that like I got into it because of the choreography. Like I was really excited. Like I love really well choreographed fight scenes, and it was like we were talking about earlier, is I loved kind of seeing a what felt like a really true anime fight in live action. And I really liked how they captured that. So yeah, I think overall I still really enjoy the movie. Like it's fun. I like it. Just it's kind of one of those stop and smell the roses. Like it's fun. It's not perfect, but I liked it.
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, a fucking Motorball made it worth it. Man, like that was like everything else. I was just like, yeah, I'm very confused. I don't know who these characters are. And then when it got to the Motorball part, I was just like, fucking who cares about the characters? Like,
let's watch some robots.
Let's watch some robots smash each other. Like,
basically, I mean, I kind of feel that way about Transformers movies too. Although I will say, I think I like this better than most Transformers movies. No offense to anyone out there who likes this.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry if that's if I don't know, Ian, if you're
What was that?
Transformers movies.
Don't get me started, dude. Don't. Just don't. Save
Alright,
yourself.
Hey,
fair
Annika,
enough.
who says I don't want to watch Robot Smash? Okay, you don't know my life.
Okay, Brian, do you want to see them smash or do you want to see them smash?
With the
Damn,
eyebrow wiggle.
Look.
That's gonna take some thought. I gotta put some thought into that one.
Look. I mean, I don't think that they have the equipment to smash, but that's not to say they couldn't try.
I
You
mean,
need to look on the darker corners of the internet. Moving on.
they did swap her feet out real easily. I'm just saying they could probably design a thing if they wanted to go that route.
This is fair. What are you saying, Brian? No for Annika. Brian, yes. All right.
I think we've gotten to that point. I think we're just delirious now.
We're delirious now. Okay.
I am happily delirious. I am in good company.
I'm surviving off of like.
Oh, Agent Prime has a good point. Nanotech.
Oh my god.
Oh no. Oh no. Nope, we are not. I am
You know, I
pulling
read a
us back.
fanfic like this one time.
Oh my god.
I am
officially,
pulling
that's
us
the
back.
line.
We're in the weeds. We are way into the weeds. Come back to safety and sanity. What the fuck am I saying? No.
I think my favorite meme that we came up with for this podcast is the external garbage disposal.
That is it's just now a thing. It's anytime.
And
anytime
Hugo
you
being
need
the spoon.
That.
Yeah. Well, I think I mean, as many issues as I had with this movie, I don't regret watching it. Like I said, you know, the motorball was really fucking cool. And there was a lot of really good action. There was a lot of really cool stuff. You know, I just wish that the pacing and the story and the writing and the acting had been a little more solid. That's all.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
But
I would say for closing thoughts on my end, like it's been a while since I watched a good sci-fi movie. Like I don't know, maybe I just need to watch more sci-fi movies, but I like it's just cool. I mean, even if the plot I will say was pretty generic, you know, but I like the world that they were building, even if the world itself was a little on the generic side. Like I got a lot of vibes from other sci-fi movies, I've seen.
No, Annika, we're not abridging Alita battling.
Oh no. No,
Oh,
don't do this to us.
Can we get Colleen Clinkenbeard to voice Alita?
No, don't answer that. Don't answer that, please.
Can we get Aoi Yuki to voice Alita?
Oh my god.
Alright, this podcast is officially over, everybody.
Like someone like Monica
Officially
Ray
off the rails.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are wrapping up this nightmare.
Let's go.
So, I guess I guess it's now time to talk some housekeeping stuff. So, yeah, we've been doing this dual weekly podcast talking about anime films to bridge the gap between dropping Fire Force and RWBY Volume 7 returning. RWBY Volume 7 returns in 2 weeks. So we are now moving back to a weekly schedule, no longer a schedule. Starting next week, we are going to be doing a recap of all of the RWBY volumes, talking about predictions, thoughts, theories, ideas, general wonderings regarding Volume 7 in our Volume 7 pre-show. And then starting the week after... starting the week after... we are going to launch immediately into talking about RWBY Volume 7, Chapter 1. It's heating up, fam.
I'm excited.
We're
last season was so good.
Man, like I I'm just worried now that they're just gonna show up at Atlas and it's just gonna be Alita Battle Angel.
Oh.
Just gonna have roller derby battles with.
Because for real, like when Annika can attest to this. The opening of the movie, like, was that big shot of fucking the Sky City, right? And the very first thing I said was like, "Oh, hey, I didn't know Atlas was in this movie."
Real fast, Frisco Man, we are not Rooster Teeth, nor are we affiliated with Rooster Teeth whatsoever, so we can't release the intro. Sorry.
Yeah.
Talk to them about acquiring us. Please don't.
We're just fans.
Please don't. We like being
we
fans.
are a group of dedicated fans making really dumb fan content, such as the Ruby abridges and the shorts of VR.
And we don't get paid.
Yep, we sure don't. So, like, support our Patreon, please.
That would really help us out, legit.
Yeah.
Alita is Penny. Oh my god.
I'm so excited to get back to talking about RWBY.
You,
like,
me, and everybody else on this podcast, and whatever special guests we were able to arrange.
Yes, the special guests.
Yes. We're gonna have a lot of guests on for RWBY. We're gonna try to have every single one of our abridged voice actors for Team RWBY. I'm sure we'll have James on, who's the director of RWBY Abridged. We're gonna have a bunch of your favorite abridged voice actors on, who work for the channel. So, Annika, you'll be on. Just calm the fuck down.
Listen, I'm a season regular now. Fuck you guys.
Hey.
I'm in the
Annika.
opening sequence now.
Make me an offer, Annika. Make me an offer.
So, yeah, we will be seeing you guys next week to talk about RWBY. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Yeah.
Bye!